Welcome to Nothing Media.
Thank you.
We have Mei here. Mei, can you tell me a brief history of the story of the character called Mei?
Oh, okay. I was growing up in China, mainland China, at when I was 29. Yes, around 29, I came to Holland, and since then I've been living here and working here. I wasn't really. I wasn't. I don't. I wasn't a spiritual seeker until I guess 5 years ago. I just bumped into Muji's videos, just pure by accident. And I didn't know anything satsang, this name, I never heard of it, but somehow I just bumped into it. And I was watching one of his short videos, just short ones. And I couldn't remember which video. And then something happened for me. I didn't understand at all what was it. And I talked to a friend of mine. He said, that was the so-called enlightenment. Oh, no, nothing, a kind of awakening. I guess looking back, it was like a sudden collapse of these me things, I guess. But I never had it before. For me, it was just blissful. And since then, I became a spiritual seeker from that moment. And yes, I I went to Muji's retreat, and this character is, if I do something, if I'm into something, then I become very fanatic. So I was fanatically, sincerely, I became a seeker for, I guess, 3 years. I was trying so hard, actually desperately. And then I wanted to become enlightened. since that very moment, I thought, wow, I thought that was something it could be reached. So I was working so hard, following Muji's teachings. I was very devoted. But of course, I was 3 years, I was so, occupied, actually kind of obsession. And it didn't work. Of course, it didn't work. I mean, at this the first experience, and then I was back. The me was back. Of course, it was back. And then I was trying desperately going back. And somehow it didn't work. I was kind of giving up, it just didn't work. It's all this trying to be loving and kind and transcend to transcend. Oh, just didn't work. So I was kind of hanging around. I mean, not physically hanging around. And then I guess I don't remember so much. And I came across Tony Parsons' talks, also from YouTube. And what he said, it was striking me. What he said was this whatever happened, all what it is apparently happening. Somehow it stays in my mind, and I just somehow love it, listening to his talks. And I didn't know he came to Holland until 2 years ago. I went to his meetings. Altogether, I was there twice with Tony's meeting. And that was the time I was kind of, me and know me, this fading away and coming back, all those things. At the first time I was at Tony's meeting, during the break, I heard someone...
I'm so sorry, Mei. I'm going to interrupt you there. The computer cut off for some odd reason.
Okay.
If you can start from, I'm sorry about this. If you can start from Muji again, that you were a Muji devotee. Sorry about that.
No problem. I don't see your picture.
Oh, I'm here. So just say from you are a seeker.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask again. I'm just going to ask a question again. Sorry about this.
No problem, no problem.
Technical issues. I don't know what happened.
Yes, I was a fanatic. Yes, very fanatic. Actually, desperate seeker, trying to reach that state of enlightenment, liberation, whatever. But it never worked out. It never worked. It never. And then I just kind of give up because I've tried so hard. I mean, I'm the one who, if my mind is fixed there, then I'm just going for it. But it just didn't work. So, and then I was kind of hanging around, not physically. And then I came across Tony's teaching on YouTube. I listened to him, and somehow I was very much drawn to his talks. I just can't explain why, but what he said, one thing just hanging there in my mind. What he said is, all there is what apparently happens. And I just love it. I just love it. And then I went to Tony's talks because I didn't know he came to Holland until 2 years ago. I went to his meeting. Altogether, I went twice of his meetings. At the first time at his meeting, during the break, I heard someone talking, or two people were talking to each other. And one of them is Case, this Dutch guy. He was kind of arranging another meeting, which will be done by a German guy. That's the first time I heard Andreas' name. I didn't know him at all. So just by accident, and Andreas would go to Amsterdam. But that moment I found it so interesting because it was a very small scale, very informal. So that's how I like it, because I was with Muji, the whole setup. Oh my God, I would never want to have it anymore. When I was there, I was also bowing all those stuff, sincerely. But afterwards, my God, I will never want to go back again. And so then that's how I started with Andreas. He came to Amsterdam. I went to his meetings in Amsterdam, and then afterwards I followed his Zoom meetings, and I went to the ES1 retreat in Greece. That's how. In this time, yes, this I didn't have a spectacular event. It's kind of slowly fading away. I remembered. So one time I had a talk with Andreas, private talking. At that moment, I was struggling with something, I was talking to him, and he said, if that happens, that is what apparently happens. Just by hearing that, I heard this many times before, but at that moment, by hearing this, suddenly I just burst into laughter, and we two just end up laughing. And somehow that was, one of those events, you can call it, that I always remember. Indeed, such a freedom in it.
Mei, what is liberation?
Actually, before, when I was a seeker, when I was trying to reach that state of liberation, I saw that was certain state, but liberation couldn't be known, it is not a state. It is not a state. It is the nature reality, which is everything. All is liberated, or already. It is everything, and empty at the same time. It is not a state to be reached. Can't really explain it.
I know it's quite difficult. What is unconditional freedom?
All there is. That is also this moment we are talking to each other, or we are in silence. It is everything. It is whatever happens, it is unconditional. It is blind. It can see also unconditional. Unconditional is the blindness. Whatever what happens.
That's beautifully put. I like that. What is enlightenment?
You can see whatever it is enlightenment. Enlightenment. Or you can say there's no enlightenment. It is just this is stunning whatever it is, but at the same time, absolutely ordinary. It can't be experienced. It is everything.
Can you explain this? There's no Mei.
There's no, to explain, there is no me. Even this statement of there is no me is already redundant. Actually, if there is even no one who can see it. Yes, I understand there is no me, but this is always is like this. Always, there is never a me. I remembered, yes, how I was this me, how it was desperately trying to get rid of itself. It was such a desperation looking back.
I know, right? So desperate.
Oh, terribly desperation.
Now it's really funny. It's really funny, the desperation, the story of desperation, which is what's happening too.
Yes, it is also, yes, but and there's absolutely no reason why it happened. Actually, it is happening, but emptily happening. Is even that happening wasn't anyone in it.
Can you help clarify this? People usually call me and ask me, can you explain the statement, there's nothing happening?
There is, for the sense of existence, for the sense of me from this perspective, it is unimaginable, and it absolutely can't be. How can it be? It's not happening. Like this talking now is taking place. How can you say it is not happening? How to explain? It is actually not to explain, but because there is no awareness. There is no awareness of, there's no knowing of what is happening. There's no knowing. It is just blindly going on, apparently, but there's no knowing of it. There's no knower and the sense what it is known. So nothing's really happening.
Beautifully said. So it's kind of like, when somebody says it's just experiencing, but there's no experiencer. Seems contradictory, right?
Yes, there isn't even experiencing. Experiencing is knowing. Something experiences something else.
Beautifully put. So what is awareness, consciousness, knowing, and all of that stuff?
Awareness, consciousness, aware of things, knowing, it is the same actually. They are the synonymous. It is knowing of something, experiencing. It is not real. It's a dream. I was struggling so hard, yes, when I was with following Muji's teaching, because it's awareness, Oh my God. And it was such, when I was listening to Tony, to Andreas, there is no awareness. But this is absolutely not to understand, not to be understood, because it's against the personal experience is contradictory to what the me feels.
Beautiful. It's really difficult sometimes to use words in trying to explain this. It's a very limited amount of words that you can use.
In a way, yes.
And it seems like, speakers that have listened to Tony, to Andreas, people would say that you're just speaking like them. What do you think of that?
Oh, you said I was kind of speaking like them. Oh, it's not indeed. It's not. I am speaking like that. It's somehow it comes out like this, and I can understand from the person point of view. When they listen to this, they can only interpret it as this is someone's experience. This is someone's knowledge, but it is not. It is not. But the person can't help interpreting that way.
I've been called a Personian too. People when they hear my interviews, my explanation for that one is that it's coming from nowhere. So there's not even a Tony Parsons.
No.
There's not even a Jim Newman. So this communication is passionately being communicated from no one to no one.
Yes, it's not even communicating.
That's right. Yeah. It's not even communicated. Yeah, you're right.
But somehow it is still amazing that this message, this apparent message being so conveyed, it's still amazing throughout the ages. Yes.
That's right. Do you have a plan of being a speaker?
I don't really have a plan, but I feel quite excited actually. And I just don't know what is going to come. But I have registered a website. The name is Unconditional Wholeness. But I haven't done anything about it. I have the name, only the name.
Oh, me too. I have a name too. I won't tell it. But I have a name too. And when people usually ask me, are you going to be speaker? I'm like, no. Usually I say no. But there's this aliveness. There's passion speaking about this. And for some odd reason, people are calling me on Messenger now asking about questions. So do you have people asking you, talking to you about this as well? People from Facebook?
No. I'm not active yet at all. You are the first one, actually. I mean, to the public.
Oh, awesome!
Really?
This is great. Wow. Let's continue with the conversation. So there's no one. There's also no free will.
Of course not. How come? It's impossible. It's such a dream. And such a relief. I mean, huge relief. Because nothing is needed. The things will taking place, will happen or to be changed, but it's not out of the will, out of the the personal mind. Not needed.
Beautiful. So there's no one, there's no free will. What is the purpose?
The purpose? Just free fall, indeed. There's no purpose. Wonderful. I never get enough of hearing that. Tony said, there's no meaning, no purpose. Just wonderful. Free fall without any direction.
Yeah, when I was a teacher, I used to have this purpose, and I used to teach people their purpose. And that was so heavy. I was like, wow, and it's almost like a trap now. It almost feels like a what do you call it? A bondage. A purpose is a bondage.
Yes.
And
it's guidance. Yeah? Then it comes to all this guiding. Oh yes, I once also said to Andreas, I said, thank God you are not a guru.
you know what? I used to follow gurus too, Mei, and and I was hoping that, I'm like, okay, if I go to a guru, I will feel this immense love and I'll start becoming a disciple. So I think I went to about, at one point I was a guru hunter. So I would go to many different gurus. And every time I went, I never felt anything. I'm like, ah. So I would leave, go to another one, even stayed at the feet of a guru. I have pictures. I'm not going to mention the guru's name, stayed at the feet of the guru, but I felt nothing. I felt like it was fraud. Did you ever feel that there was something fraudulent going on or something not right? Fraud is such a big word. Something off, for example, with Muji.
Well, when I was following his teaching, I was so devoted, and I had no, I trusted, and I said I just working harder, and I didn't, at that moment, I didn't feel something's not right or fraud. And then somehow, because it didn't work out, I kind of give up. And then I came across Tony. I also went to Jeff Foster's meetings when he was in the Netherlands. And then later, and also later, Andreas. And then I realized how much I just don't like this setting, this worshiping. Oh, that was, I couldn't bear it anymore. That is, I don't like that moment, but that moment, not.
I just want to say that there's nothing wrong or right about anything, including worshiping a guru. Oh. But for me at that experience, it was a bit off. It was a bit off, and that's what I was trying to say. And I know some of these gurus are very earnest with what they're doing.
Oh,
they
yes,
really believe it. They really believe it, right?
That's why I think that moment I was very devoting, and I thought I just had to work harder, And also it has to do, I guess, my upbringing in China. You had always this, we were brought up with issues, absolute respect to your teachers, your gurus, your masters,
Oh, that's what it is. Because I also grew up, in a culture that was very devoted. That's what it is. That's what it is. Did you do some meditation practices?
Never really, because I guess this character isn't much into that kind of meditation. I'm not so patient. I'm not patient enough to sit there hours. So I never that kind of spiritual practice. I'm not in. I've never really been into it.
That was my devotion. I meditated for hours. I even started teaching it, and I was like, what am I? Nothing wrong or right about meditation again, it's just what's happening. So the next question that I have for you is, what is suffering?
Suffering is a dream. It is not real. It is not real. Suffering, it is has been personalized, of course. That's why the just now you asked me, what is liberation? Liberation is all there is, whatever it is, no mercy. And suffering isn't real. But so it sounds very cool.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. It sounds very cool. It's like you just deny the existence of suffering, but it's not real. It's an illusion.
What is the dream?
Dream is something never really happens.
I'm running out of questions. You know what? When I started, someone interviewed me maybe a year ago and asked me 20, 30 questions, kind of like the questions that I'm asking, because I don't have any more questions. And it took me 3 hours to answer all of these questions. I was just so excited, just all of this passion coming out. It's on YouTube somewhere. And I just started talking, and he asked many different questions, and now if I did that interview again, it probably would be like 40 minutes because it's so. Is there a deepening or a language bettering? I don't know what to say. Does the language get better? The languaging?
Oh, in which way? I don't know because
In speaking about this, like for example, I think I was talking to Jim or someone, I can't really remember, but there seems to be, for me, I always say that there's a clarity that I cannot express because talking about this is almost like muddying the water. So I would usually say something and always bite, the tongue. It's just what's happening too.
Yeah.
Because there's just this, it's a clarity that cannot be expressed or explained.
Yes.
There's a hinting at it.
Sometimes like just so overwhelmingly, ordinarily stunning that you have just no words for it. But like I said, you are the first one I am talking to publicly, so I have no idea about the language.
Such an honor, Mei. Such an honor.
It's honor of mine, honor of me. So I have no idea. This is the first time, and I feel more comfortable speaking it in English somehow.
Me too, actually. Me too. Yeah. English is not my mother tongue too.
That's not my not my native language, and I always have this love for English language.
So Mei, what is non-duality?
Non-duality, it's like the same. It is also, it is all there is. There is no separation. Non-duality means there is no separation. No separation between anything, between things and the one who knows the things, between me and the world. There's no me. When there's no me, it is not when there is no me. There is no me, there is no world. There's no opposite. Nothing is opposite to each other. So all these comparisons, all this good or bad, all just falling away. Non-duality is what is the natural reality, which can't be known.
The unknowable.
Unknowable, undescribable, incomprehensible. It is all there is. It is everything. And yet empty of meaning. Absolutely empty of meaning. This is wild, mad with freedom.
Epic. Sometimes I interview people that don't really understand what's being talked about, and then when there seems to be a misconception about there's no one here. They think it's a dissociation or a denial or a spiritual bypassing.
Yeah.
And I actually tell tell them that actually it's the opposite. It's actually a full on. It's not a denial. It's unescapable.
Oh, yes. Nothing is rejected. Nothing is excluded. Everything full on.
It's
absolutely.
This.
All the emotions.
Yeah, that's the biggest misconception, and it becomes a little bit of a punching bag for spiritual teachers that doesn't really understand this. Although this is not understandable, where's the communication? Where's the clarity coming from, or the undeniability of this, for you to speak so confident about this?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea that this is clarity. I have no idea. Also, no idea of, is this confidence? Totally no idea. It's funny to hear that.
Well, there seems to be, not an understanding, but I don't even know what I'm saying, to be honest. But you understand what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying? It's very fluid speaking about this. when I used to lecture about spirituality, I used to study, and I would prepare, take a
uh,
couple of hours, read it
uh,
back and forth. Now,
uh,
when speaking about the unspeakable, it just comes out. It just comes out.
uh,
Flaws and all, because there's no one doing it, and it can't be done wrong. It's just what's happening.
uh, just
Can you
totally.
explain up? Sorry, go
Yes.
ahead.
Sorry. Yes, you continue.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I would say, I just wanted to say there is really no knowing of anything. And this sounds crazy, but at the same time, there's such a joy, but not because of something, not because of anything, but it's just no knowing, like a newborn.
Can you talk about the freshness and seeing everything for the first time and not seeing it as well?
Even to say it is fresh is little bit, is even bit
Yeah.
kind of description. It is just directly, it's just full on, it's bang on, like Tony said. It's just, or you can call it freshness, but at the same time, it's just what is ordinary, just ordinary, nothing special.
Can you talk about the apparent happening that didn't happen to May, that everyone talks about, the apparent shift? People always want ask that question. So how was your awakening, the apparent awakening that happened to no one?
To be honest, I said I was looking at one of these Muji's short videos, and somehow I couldn't, when I looked back, I don't really know what happened. What only I remembered was, it was very blissful. Wow. It's like kind of opening. It's like, wow, that was what I remembered. But the rest, I don't know anymore. It's like it's like for the person, it's suddenly stepped into another dimension, maybe like that. And then you want to go back to that blissful kind
Isn't
of.
that just a glimpse though? Because I had that experience too, maybe 10 years ago. I was walking down and everything from like, wow. It was almost
Yes,
like a different dimension. It was almost
yes,
like a lifting of the veil or something.
yes.
But
It was
that
like that. It
but
was
that
like,
glimpse, I wanted to hold on to it.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I know. So I did a whole bunch of practices, started, helping people. I'm like, well, if you become like the best person, the most kind person, and be selfless, then I can retain this. And then it was just desperation trying to hold on to it and then losing it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, like following Muji's teaching is trying to be loving and kind. Oh my God, what the effort! The more I was, the harder I was working, the more hatred I got on myself. I mean, oh shit, you feel again and again and again.
That's what happened to me too, because I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to meditate for 10 straight days every day at 4 o'clock in the morning and have this state. And then something happens and I'm like, and all of a sudden that falls apart. You're like, oh, I lost my bliss. So much effort. And at one point I said, you know what's really the difference, with me sitting in meditation and going across the street and going to a bar and drinking? So I traded drinking. No difference. This is still a dream.
No, there's really no difference between anything.
So when you encountered Tony and Andreas, was there an apparent falling away of the me? There's no me to fall in the first place, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I guess so. In the story, yes, there is a parent fading away. Yes, and in the story, it has to do with Tony. I listened to Tony's loads of his videos. I love it. I love it. And then Andreas. Yes, I'm very grateful. I said, thank God he's not guru. It's so approachable. I mean, it's so nice, so nice.
And then you go to the meetings, and I think I've seen you in a meeting, and I usually hide. Yeah, I used to go to the Andres meeting because I told you earlier that I really didn't know how to it was so odd, you know what I'm saying? Because there's this apparent um understanding, but for no one. So I would go to Andrea's meeting, and I would listen to the questions, and then I would think I have the same answer. Well, not me, but the answer is coming out the same. And I usually see you smiling. I usually hide because in a meeting, all I do is laugh. There was a point when I watched Tony and Jim Newman's videos. I used to get so frustrated at them because I could not get it. I'm like, I can't seem to get this, and I kept on hitting the wall over and over again. And then after the apparent, that nothing happened, I was laughing for 2 days because everything that they were saying was just so spot on, so full on. There was no bullshit. It was just so clear, and no manipulation.
No, absolutely not. Yes, that was wonderful about them. It's not about them as person, because when you are with gurus, it's a lot about those gurus, about them, their stories, But they are absolutely not about them. It's about this nothingness, this apparent message. That is what they convey. It's really, really great.
Yeah, so when I used to listen to that, and then I would see you just laughing. That's where I remember you.
A lot of joy.
Lots of joy. Yeah, and I hide myself because I was afraid that people are going to think that I was making fun of them, because sometimes I'll just laugh at everything. And then I think I was in a meeting before, and my mute button was on, so the people could hear my laughter, and people looked at the video, and I'm like, oh, sorry. Because somebody was asking a question about suffering, and I started laughing so hard. And people might view it as insensitive, although there's no one there, but I was just trying to.
Yeah. Because at certain moments, you just can't take those things seriously anymore. That laughter comes.
That's right. I think I have an interview one time that we just laughed for a good 10 minutes because I didn't really know what to say. And then when I interview other people and their seriousness, I also crack up laughing. I just can't help it because some people think it's serious, but nothing is serious. Can you expand on that one, Mei? That nothing is
serious. Yes, for the me, everything is serious because everything is so real. But the seriousness is also empty. There's no meaning even in the so-called seriousness. No meaning at all. It's just free of any meaning. Oh, but I mean, it's not serious. Nothing wrong with it because when I'm doing my work, where I'm with my clients, there's certain kind of seriousness. You listen to people that just takes place. It happens by itself. So it's but it's the seriousness about life, the purpose, the meaning of life that can't be anymore.
Yeah, there was a point I'm like, there's no meaning to this, and I just laughed for like maybe an hour. It's almost like madness, like someone went crazy, because I'm like, there's no meaning. Because for quite a while in the story of Emerson, held on to meanings of life, held on to the purpose of life, held on to belief system, like God.
Yes.
Mei, what is God?
What is God? I guess it is the same sense as awareness, that kind of stuff. You mean? I mean, you can also say everything is it. Everything is God, but I don't really like that word. What is not? What is not it?
What is death?
What is
death?
Death. Oh, death. Death is just as life, the not really existing. There's nothing comes to life at the first place. There's like an end of something, but there's no beginning. So there is no end, neither.
If somebody asked you that was suffering, for example, somebody had cancer that's suffering, that is afraid of death, what would you say to them?
You know, the cancer is physical, something physical. It can be the body that has pain or whatever. You know, it will, the help or the help will be given as what needed. It happens also apparently by taking painkillers to relieve the pain. That is also what apparently happens. But the suffer, I mean the mental suffer, that is not real. But I will not say to people, your suffering is not real. I will not say that.
I tell
to my patients,
yeah.
Your suffering is not real.
You're not here. So that's what people think, that this is what's being talked about here, is that is a complete denial, which is the complete opposite. I gave this example. If there's a fire in the house, this body will get out of the house and call a fireman. It's not going to say it's just what's happening. There's this fire happening and there's no one here, and burn in flames. And that's what people seem to think what's being said, and which is a complete misunderstanding of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, the comforting might take place, helping might take place just by itself.
Taking chemo might take place, not taking chemo might take place, taking alternative medicine might take place. Whatever it is what's happening.
Yes, looking after taking place. Yes.
There's this, there's a story that I always say. I caught my 2 fingers in a garage door, and it turned black. And I was sitting down, and there was this pain that was, was so intense, but I was also euphoric, because there's no one holding on to this pain, having this, I should have not done that, I should be more careful, but it was just paining itself.
Yes. Just simply the pain. Yes, just full on pain. Ouch!
Full on pain.
Ouch!
I know, it was the most painful pain that has ever been, but it's not personalized. So it's, so for what it seems like, okay, this is what people also doesn't understand. But it seems like time was happening, it was healing, but there's no time. So whatever is happening is just happening.
Yes.
Without any time, without any future. And a me seems to hold on to that story of the past or the projection of the future. And the me, wants to be real and tries to hold on to these different concepts that's not real. Let's talk about time. Can you elaborate more on time, of that there's no past and nothing happened?
All this time and space, they just come into existence because of, as long as there is a sense of me, all this immediately they come into the place, time and space. But when there is never really a sense of me taking place, so time and space, they're not, it's the same. They come together with a sense of me.
I usually say, who's having this sense of time? And it's usually me. So in the absence of me, there's no time.
But by saying that, because of the sense of me comes the sense of time and space. Almost, it sounds like the me is real. The sense of me is real.
That's right. Yeah.
That is it. That's why people is trying desperately to get rid of this sense of me. But this sense of me, that is not even really taking place.
That's right.
That is unexplained. That can't be explained.
It can't be explained. There's someone's talking to me and said, how do I get rid of the me? And then I said, a me becoming a no me is also a me pretending to be a no me.
Yes.
It's also an illusion.
Yes. The me has to be there to be get rid of.
That's right. There's nothing to get rid of because it's never been there in the first place. It never started, and it's just a complete illusion. The illusion didn't even start.
This is so amazing. Just complete.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. It's so stunning. It's
Yes,
so
stunning. Absolutely
it's
stunning.
and just the full on. I always like the full on, and not the avoiding. You know, the me. You know, when I was in the character, I used to avoid things. I
Everything.
used to
Yes.
everything. You know,
Yes.
and apparently in this story, you know, now I'm walking down the street and there's this bright. I don't know, like how many shades of green can there be? You know, walking in the springtime, or how many trees. I can look at a tree now and I'm like, it's been an hour and I'm like, I better do something. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just this bewilderment and there's amazement at something that seems so ordinary, but at the same time extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just can't be, you can't express it really.
No, no. All I can do is talk about trees. Can you try attempt to express this?
You know what? Before I used to listen to those stories like Jeff Foster. You know, it's like when he was this big moment and he was looking at the carpet. Oh gosh, carpet. You know, all those kinds of big moments. I was
It's,
fascinating. Oh, if my knee collapsed, I would have that kind of fancy, moment. Oh, I would look at everything differently. They would look differently. How I was, kind of fantasizing, how do you say?
fantasizing. Yeah, yeah,
Fantasizing
yeah, yeah.
such a spectacular moment. But actually, the trees still looking as trees.
That's right.
I really don't have that spectaculars. I mean, it's still the same. Everything is the same.
It is. It is. That's why it's so ordinary, but
Yes,
also extraordinary because it's just this.
yes,
It's
yes.
it's not changed. You know, it's just I don't know
It's
how to explain it
yes, it
even.
is actually the same. All those big moment story, just I mean, in this
Yeah,
character, it didn't happen. But at the same time, it's such a wonder. Yes, such a wonder.
yeah. There's a wonderment,
Yes,
in almost in
wonderment.
everything because it's full on. It's full on. So walking down is ordinary, but also extraordinary because nothing has changed, but
Yes,
everything has changed.
yes.
It's hard to explain. It's hard to
Yes,
explain.
indeed.
But people might think that this is a wow story, but it's actually not. It's the constant. It's a constantness. It's the
Yes, yes.
sameness.
It is
Some
yes
people
and
might
no.
even call it boringly ordinary.
Boring, I wouldn't say.
I would not say that. Yeah, yeah, I know, and I'm just trying to normalize it so that people
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
expect this like, you're floating in space and all of a sudden you're superhuman because there's this romanticized idea about enlightenment
Yes, it
that
was
people are
romanticizing. Sure,
that
sure.
there's this it's blissful everywhere. you
That
know
that was what I was fantasizing. Oh, it was blissful, blissful. No, it's just ordinary life. I went to groceries, doing I mean, shopping, cooking, all the stuff. Just not different.
so you're
Working.
not so maybe you're not floating right now, right? I'm floating here at least.
I was a bit floating the first time, when those the first wake up. I mean, apparent waking up. So this, I was kind of floating. Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just the ordinariness of like every moment is there's no moments, but it's a constant wow.
Yes, timeless. Yes,
Yeah,
timeless.
it's constantly wow, but not wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just oh, it's
Even that
um
there's no aware of it. It's just
yeah, it's so hard
can't
to
put it
explain.
into words.
It's so hard to explain because this communication that's coming out sometimes is the words don't seem to match it. But people will also think that that's something extraordinary. It's not.
Because
It's
people
not.
think it's a certain state.
It's
State
not a
of
state.
happiness, a
Yeah.
state of bliss. It is not. It's not any state. No.
No, actually, I swear more now. So, for example, I was walking down. You know, I walk my dog every day, and I stepped on dog poo. And of course, I said, "Fuck shit," you know. And I'm like, "Oh, I swear." It's a swearing happening.
It can still happen. Shit still happens. Apparently.
Of course, I had to, you know, carry my shoe now, and you know, because it's covered in shit, you know. And I was kind of like, but that's what's happening too. It's not like you're floating floating and walking and everything that doesn't bother you anymore. Like if you stepped on shit, you're like, oh, that's just what's happening. Of course, you're going to say, fuck. Take off your shoe, you know, and wash the shoe.
Yeah.
It's not like this. It's not like shit disappears.
That is the boundless freedom. Yes, boundless. Yes.
Yeah, when I was a teacher, I used to avoid swear words because, you know, because sometimes it will come out and I would feel bad, you know. But right now it's almost like, that's awesome just to swear because no one's doing it. It's just coming out. And then it's almost like a childlike wonder now. Yes. That's just another story, but it's like a childlike wonder.
Childlike innocence, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like Tony said, yes.
Yeah.
There's no knowing of anything.
No. There's no knowing. There's no right or wrong. And the concept of, okay, this one, I always get asked about this one. How about morality?
Morality?
Yeah, what is morality?
Morality, I think it is the creation of this, the mind, human mind. And making it so black and white, right or wrong. Yes, it is absolutely from this me sense, of course. Judging. That is also, I mean, what more can I say?
I called my friend about a couple of years ago, and I didn't know who to talk to about this. So he's one of my best friends. I've known him for 10 years. You know, I actually brought him to spirituality. So he started, you know, becoming spiritual. He was a Christian before. So I called him up and I said, hey man, there's no one here. There's no one here ever. There's no one. There's no you. There's no me. And I was talking this for 2 hours. And then I realized that he was like, okay, Emerson, all right, I'll talk to you later. I'm like, oh, you know, I was just talking because it was just kind of like, have you talked to anyone about this? And how did he react? He probably thought I was crazy.
Oh, just now you said, by the way, to be moral or immoral, there's no free choice anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
so true. Yeah. Who's going to be moral? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is not free will of as nature.
That's true.
Can't choose to be moral or not moral.
Or not. That's right. Yeah. No choose.
This is what happens. And then there's a label has been put it down. Been labeled, oh, this is moral. This is not moral. I mean.
But there's also this misconception that if there's no morality, then everyone can be a serial killer. That there's no morality. And again, that's a complete misconception again. What do you think about that? So for example, someone will say, then everybody is just free to kill everybody if there's no morality.
But that is, I mean, someone can say it, but even it is said, everyone is free to kill anyone, it still will not happen. Everyone will kill anyone. I mean, nobody is there to make this choice to kill someone consciously, to make conscious choice.
There's no free will.
Emerson, you are allowed to kill. Are you going to? Is it going to happen? No, I don't think so.
No.
Or you can say to a killer,
This character
must
can't
never
even
kill, but it still happen.
this character can't even kill an ant. You know, when there's an ant thing, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. It's um yeah, it's just what's happening. And if there's a serial killer, that's also what's happening. There's
Yes,
no difference between it's
no
the same.
real difference. Yes,
Yeah,
because there isn't anyone in the killer.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. So going back to that question, sorry, I interrupted you. You talked to kind of like what I said to you. I was so excited to tell somebody because I was like walking around. It was just walking, lying down. I was lying down, breathing. I was like, oh wow. You know, in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like this bewilderment, this amazement, also a disappointment that it was just very ordinary. But I wanted still, there was this passion coming out to talk about this. So I called my friend and talked to him for 2 hours, and it was like, nothing is happening, dude, nothing is happening. So I was like telling for maybe about 2 hours, and at the end it was like, wow, thank you, Emerson. I'll talk to you soon, okay? So I'm like, hung up the phone. I'm like, oh, he probably thought I went crazy. Because this talk is really crazy. It doesn't make sense.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
No, not only this talk not making any sense.
Everything.
Anything, anything else. It is another crazy statement,
I
kind of.
know. I know. So have you talked to anyone? You said you talked to your friend in China about this?
Also,
And you were
not
a doctor
so much.
before. You were a
Yes,
doctor before in China.
When I was in China, working in hospital. Yes. Uh, I'm now I'm having my practice being an acupuncturist. I enjoy my work very much.
So are you said you have a website coming up. What's it called again?
Unconditional wholeness.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
But I haven't done anything. I need to still still need to make it.
Oh wow. Are you ready to answer some live questions? Maybe we can do that.
Oh, I feel quite excited. Maybe we can.
Yeah.
I said this is my first public talk with you.
Oh, great.
Oh,
this is so great. Well, I'm going to pause the interview now. And I know I only said an hour, but we went over already. I can talk to you maybe for 3 hours or. Thank you, Mei.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.